Hello everyone and welcome to a walkthrough commentary video for Iron Hearts Mission 2. So Iron Hearts is a campaign made for Company of Heroes 2 by Opulent Omega, and it focuses on a story of few individuals of the German army who try to desert it and then go to Switzerland to live their lives peacefully. Now, the difference here is from your usual campaign is that you do not control whole squads. Instead, you control individual soldiers, which gives the emphasis more on tactical management, especially micromanagement, flanking, taking cover, and using men to their best abilities. You have two grenadiers, a Panzer Grenadier, a Stormtrooper, and a Osttruppen. So each of these guys has their own name, their own backstory, and their own reasons why they are going to Switzerland. For example, Otto Basch, he has a family in Switzerland and he wants to reunite with them. On the gameplay side, just to say, when you're retreating, you must not click the retreat button too soon, because otherwise your character will run in front of the others, and if that happens, the characters will get killed by a bombing plane that destroys the bridge. It happened to me once. But back on Otto. So he has a family in Switzerland and he wants to reunite with them, but he needed some men in order for him to make it successful there. It's easier if you travel in groups, and each of the characters has their own reasons. For example, Anton Constantin is a Romanian guy who's trying to claim the inheritance of estate property in Switzerland that was left by his family. His family is dead. That means his father, mother, grandfather, grandmother, they're all dead, and that's the reason why he's going to Switzerland. Of course, other characters have their own explanations why they are deserting, or their motivations, and each of the characters have their own personalities. So as you can see here in that dialogue that you probably read, Friedrich, the Stormtrooper, he's the main guy here. He is the leader, he has the highest rank. He's the guy that is mostly serious, while Otto Basch, while being serious than him, he can also be joke, and Anton is the comedian here. As you can see back there, he tried to steal some vodka from a Soviet soldier, and that's the reason why the whole Soviet army is on them. Well, how much support or the production of this campaign depends on the support of people who play this. So if you really want to see more of this, I suggest you to go to Opulent Omega's Steam page, click on both the first map and the second map and upvote it. And if you can drop a comment. Of course, I suggest you to download this. It doesn't take so much space. It's like 16 megabytes. It doesn't require a mod or expansion. So yeah, try it out for yourself. It's really hard, because if any one of the guys dies, then it's game over. For the necessary storyline, it is important that all of them survive. However, it has been coded into the game in such a way that these soldiers can take up more damage than your usual grenadiers, Panzer Grenadiers, and all that. The Osttruppen guy is obviously the weakest, but it has been modified that when he reaches level 2, he gets a significant armor increase. It even says on the veterancy. So you have that. So as we can see here, Kabel is playing this, it's not me. If it were me, it would take quite a long time and I could probably fail. Kabel himself said that he tried this like 9 times and then he managed to succeed, but it was due to some, nonsense reasons. For example, in the next section we will see there's a mortar, and if you're not careful, the mortar can kill you. You might be saying, well, just avoid it, move when it fires. That is true, but you know, it's so random that you cannot exactly predict it. The same with anti-tank guns and anti-tank weapons. One direct hit can kill your guys even at level 3 with no problem. So as we can see here, Kabel engaged the NKVD honorary selects. You will meet, well, not meet, you will engage with elite units of the Soviet army, and these elite units have better veterancy, some better weapons. For example, there will be a guard squad that has, I don't know, a DP-28, a PTRS, and a flamethrower. So as we can see here, Kabel took the munitions, he took some healing items for his Panzer Grenadier, and now he entered that house with grenadiers, with 2 grenadiers, I think, yeah, 2 grenadiers. And now he's engaging these enemies with his Panzer Grenadier and his Stormtrooper. You see, this is a tactic that I advise to be used in the comment section of the of the Steam page, which has this map. I basically propose that all your rifle infantry should divert attention, while your assault infantry, meaning the Stormtrooper and Panzer Grenadier, they should be the ones that move in and then take out the enemy. So as we can see here, Kabel entered the house with, yeah, it seems 2 grenadiers, and he's engaging with the Panzer Grenadier and Stormtrooper. This is a viable tactic, and I do advise you to use this. In fact, I had problems around this part, but after seeing what Kabel did, I implemented the same strategy, and it was a piece of cake. Now you might be worrying about the conscripts to the upper left, but do not worry, because conscripts can shoot for shit at that range. And always pay attention to the health of your units, because your unit might have that one itsy bitsy health left, and then a random bullet kills him, and that can be infuriating. Trust me, I had such, you know, situations happen to me, especially when you're, I don't know, trying to rank up your units and then someone kills him. As we can see here, there's a commissar. Commissars usually call in artillery strikes, and that can be annoying, so it is advised that you eliminate them as soon as possible. This one will call, you know, bombardment strikes, I mean artillery strikes, regularly after you attack him, even when you're far, far away from him. Okay, so he dropped here even though he was attacked there. I think the commissar has, how do you say, some weird intentions with Kurt Bachmann, don't know why. Well, as stated before, this commissar will bombard you wherever you go. So it is advised that if you engage him quickly and you take him out quickly. Otherwise he will be a pain in the ass for you. So, as we remember from the start, Kabel used Anton, the Osttruppen guy, to divert the machine gun, so now the machine gun cannot turn around and shoot at his men, so that is good. Now he can close in with the Panzer Grenadier and Stormtrooper, or rather Otto and Friedrich. So Otto and Friedrich will engage this machine gun and they will make short work of it. Now, as we can see, Anton has the PTRS, and there is a possible exploit that you can use in order for Anton to, you know, rank up a bit, so he can reach level 3 with no problem. And you can also use the same, okay, not the same, but a similar exploit if you're patient enough and if you want to rank up your units a bit in order for them to get more experience. I will make a separate video on that, but for now let's focus on Kabel's or Kabel however you want to pronounce his name. I don't know, the English sounds like Kabel, and the Slavic or non-English is Kabel, which is correct. Now, once he captures this territory, this church, yeah, it's interesting to see territory being a capture point being put in a building. Very interesting. I think it should be implemented for some multiplayer maps, just for the heck of it. Okay, so let's explain the situation. He's capturing the territory, and once he captures it, a squad of shock troops and a squad of penal troops will arrive, and that won't be pleasant. So what he is going to do is he's going to put 2 grenadiers on the right sandbag fortification, and Friedrich and Otto on the left one, with Anton being in the house. Now see what happens. They arrive and they will receive fire. The shock troops will move to the sandbag a bit north from the vehicle. As you can see, Kabel is already moving his stormtrooper and panzer grenadier behind the car, and now he will engage the shock troops. The shock troops are in no cover, they're not in the right direction, and they can easily be eliminated that way. The penal troops are, as we can see, in the open. They're taking casualties, and they also shouldn't be a problem. So now he's moving in with Friedrich and Otto, and it should be a piece of cake, because the penals are now so focused on either the grenadiers or Anton that they don't see that there's a guy with an MP44 blasting right in their faces. Well, actually they can shoot, but they shoot for shit, so. But that doesn't mean that you should be, comfortable like, yeah, they can't hit me. They can hit you. It's just a matter of which bullet will hit you. So there's a medical supply, excuse my language, there's a medical supply that will heal all of your infantry as long as they're nearby. So it is advised that you use that, and it will also inspire them to fight better. So again, use that. Now we come to the tricky part. As I said before, there's a mortar, luckily not a heavy mortar, but just a regular one, and there are some enemies in the woods. Now what Kabel here is doing, and I saw this before, I always to watch the video, he will move in with the stormtrooper and panzer grenadier while the other units distract the enemy, for example these penal troops. Okay, he won't do that. He's actually just scouting, and he's using an exploit that the Germans have a longer range, so he can eliminate the squad without taking any fire. However, that won't be possible as he goes through the woods, because in the woods you have shock troops, not whole squads luckily, penal troops, and at the end you have a mortar squad. So coordination of your men is important here. What I usually do is I send in Otto. He's a panzer grenadier. I usually have a level 2 Otto at this stage, and I send him in because he's then harder to hit. Level 2 grants you survivability bonuses. So I move with him. Friedrich follows him, and they're the one that are engaging, and I order the rest of my troops an attack move from that point to the mortar squad location. And then I just, basically what I'm doing is I'm moving with the stormtrooper and panzer grenadier around. I'm taking care of the enemies, while the rest of my units, they provide support from afar, because I'm diverting attention and they can focus on the shock troops, on the penals and all that. Movement is important here, because the mortar can make quite some damage. What I usually like to do is I select these 2 guys, and when I hear that the mortar round is incoming, or rather when I hear that it is fired, I move them frontally. Okay, not frontal. I move them closer to the enemy. That way the mortar will hit behind me, and I will move in for the kill for any troops that are in front of him, because even if there's a shock troop, even if he is good at close range, he can't beat two guys with an MP44. And the support that I receive from other units will also make it easier. So as we can see here, here's a mortar squad. 4 men shouldn't be a problem for Otto and Friedrich. You also have ammunitions nearby and some healing supplies, 3 of them. So use that before you advance forward. One other important thing to note about this map and campaign in general is that resources are limited. You only have missions, and you won't have them in an abundant, quantity. You will need to use them to the best of your abilities. It even states at the beginning that, among other things, you can upgrade Friedrich with either better anti-infantry weapons or anti-tank weapons. Primarily we're speaking about the MP44 or the Panzerschreck. Panzerschreck costs 75 munitions while the MP44 100. It is a bit of expensive, investment, but it is worthwhile, especially considering the fact that most enemies on this map that you encounter will be infantry. There will be like little to no vehicles that will present any threat to you. Now we come to an area in which you can use an exploit. So Kabel, what he will do here, he will put some of his men into houses, and he will leave Kurt Bachmann outside. What happens here is when you move forward down the road, it triggers these refugees to come out of their disguises and reveal themselves as partisans. Some of them come equipped with anti-tank weapons like the Panzerschreck, others have MG42. Now he left, I think that is Friedrich, yeah, it is Friedrich outside. He put Otto and Ulrich in one house and Anton, the Osttruppen guy, in another. What I usually like to do is I put Friedrich and Otto in that middle house to the right. I put Ulrich and Anton in the house a bit lower to the left, and I move with Kurt forward, and I don't use any abilities. I don't throw grenades or anything like that. Now what you get here is, okay, now he's moving forward, but what you get here, you can pick up a DP-28. I pick it up because why not? Extra firepower is always welcome. Or if they drop a MG42, you can pick that up, and there's also some ammunition and healing items, so you definitely use that before you advance. Yeah, I was explaining something before. And now we meet 2 new men that will be added to our squad. So we have Tomislav Novak, he's a Croat, and we have, what's his name? Hans Dunkel. So Hans isn't exactly what you would say a talkative person. He mostly keeps to himself. He doesn't talk with others. He gives you affirmations or negations with a nod of his head or a short phrase that he utters from time to time. Now they're having a conversation. Okay, I'll explain shortly what happened. So Tomislav, when he returned to the Romanian family that he was serving before, after his service in the Wehrmacht, he was you could say a servant or a butler for the family. And the mother of the family, which was Anton's mother, she asked him if he could find him and bring him back because she was scared that he might die while serving in the Wehrmacht. And it's 1944, and that's a reasonable, care to have. And now Anton basically explained to him because, Tomislav was sent a year ago on that adventure, and now everyone is dead, and now Tomislav is in a bit of a uncomfortable situation because now he needs to desert, just like everyone else. So we have 2 new men. That brings up the company numbers up to 7. Now I would advise you to get Tomislav and Hans as fast as you can to level 3, because on level 3 they can heal themselves while out of combat. Okay, so what will happen here is that there will be a squad of machine gun team, a squad of conscripts, and a squad of guards that will arrive. The squad of conscripts and the machine gun team will be in the left lower trench, while the guards will be in the lower right trench. And there are Easter eggs on this map. This is an Easter egg that states if you go to the compound and eliminate the commissar there, it will be easier for you in the final area. The final area will include a boss battle. That boss battle is basically, you and against tanks. Now there will be one thing that will help you in that battle, but I'm not going to reveal it just yet. I won't spoil it, although I spoiled what will be in the battle. So, as we can see, Kabel is putting his men behind heavy cover because he anticipates the Soviets that will arrive in these trenches. Yeah, these trenches, they will arrive here. Yep, here they come. So as we can see, we have conscripts, guards, machine gun, Maxim. But once they come here, and here Kabel simply just throws a grenade, eliminates a bunch of them, and that's no problem for Kabel. I always said that he was like Erwin Rommel personified in that regard. So once you eliminate these guys, I would strongly advise you that you go and follow the left road, go to the compound, eliminate everything that is there, and eliminate the commissar, because you don't want the battle to be any harder, and your men will get some extra experience, which is always a bonus, or rather a plus in my books. So it seems like Kabel equipped one of his men with a Panzerschreck. Let's see. Okay, I can't exactly see properly which man has the Panzerschreck. I think it's Tomislav. Yep, it's Tomislav. Okay, now he's regrouping. He's probably going to heal them, or not, and then he will move forward. Now, in front of the compound, you have some, conscripts, penals, and even a full shock trooper squad that, are just standing there. And there are also some trucks. Yep, there is a truck. The trucks won't harm you. They serve as a, if you want to boost your experience for your units, then you simply attack the truck. I literally, when I was playing this, or rather when I was playing the beta, I simply put Tomislav near a truck and ordered him to attack, and then I went off and grabbed a drink. When I came back, Tomislav was level 2 or 3, I don't know, but it took, quite some time. So what is important here is, again, coordination for your troops. There's a lot of trees that will block your line of sight, but that also means that you have a lot of cover, and you can always distract the enemy with long-range units and then use Friedrich and Otto to close in with their MP44s. So use that. One other thing important to note is that in front of the entrance there is a machine gun and getting directly past that will be problematic. However, you can always blow up this, fence, and then you can, enter the compound that way and simply eliminate the fortification that way. So we can see that Kabel is using all the options that he has in order to pass this map as easily as possible, and that is good. This is good for a walkthrough. He's showing all the possibilities. Let's see. Yeah, nothing much that I can commentate here. I mean, basically he's kicking the Soviets, so, he's probably killing them for some extra experience, because Tomislav and Hans, since they're Oberkommando West units, they have 5 levels, which means they can be even more potent. For example, Tomislav at level 3, and Hans also, they get the healing ability. Tomislav on level 4 gets, greater awareness, meaning that he can see further, and on level 5 he fires faster. Meanwhile, Hans on level 4, he can suppress enemy infantry with his light machine gun, and on level 5 he's even stronger. He's like Rambo on steroids. I mean, he has a machine gun. I mean, what are we talking about? Yeah, those shock troops aren't a problem as long as you keep the distance. Remember that, children. What I usually did here was, when I used the exploit that I will upload and explain how it is useful, at this stage I had most of my guys at level 3 except Hans and Tomislav. So what I did was, I was moving the guys slowly forward, and Tomislav would be the guy that would shoot far, and Hans would assist him, and then I would balance it out until both were level 3, and then when they were level 4 I was just using Hans and Tomislav to push through the compound, eliminate the enemy, then pull them back, let them heal, and then repeat it that way. Yeah, you also need to take into consideration where you send your units, because if they go into deep snow, well, that will slow them down, and that's not what you want when you're trying to engage the enemy on, frontally, because he can see you, he can shoot you obviously, and you being slow in the snow is not exactly beneficial to you, because the longer you are exposed, the higher the chances are that you will get killed. This video lasts for 31 minutes and 6 seconds, and we will soon be, at the end of this video, because these parts usually take around 30 minutes. So this will be part 1, part 2 will also be around 30 minutes, and part 3 I think is around 20 minutes. That one is shorter. So as we can see here, Kabel is an expert player, but he's taking his time. He knows that the Soviets won't move, and basically what he's doing is, well, he's doing his thing. That's not much to comment here. He's just, slowly moving. He scouts a bit, he shoots them from afar, then he engages in close quarters combat, then he pulls back, maybe heals them, and he repeats that. Yeah, upgrading Tomislav with the Panzerschreck, I don't know. In the beta it wasn't allowed, so I couldn't upgrade Tomislav with a Panzerschreck. However, if I had to upgrade Tomislav with a Panzerschreck, I would upgrade him with that much later, because right now the Panzerschreck serves little to no purpose. And if you plan to take out the fortifications, you can use Anton with his PTRS. It's not a problem. It might take a while, but you know, it's a PTRS. It can punch through buildings, you know. No need for a Panzerschreck, unless he wants to get experience sooner that way. Well, we are nearing the end, around 30 seconds remaining, so I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my commentary so far, I'll try to improve it in the next part. And in the next part we will see Kabel assaulting the compound and pwning all the Soviets that are located in there. Thank you for watching and have a pleasant day, people.